Start recording. Stop recording. Button.
Hi, my name is Melissa Powell, and this is the second video on the Orbit Reader 20. The first video had a lot of views, and that was a really nice thing, so I decided I better do another one. Today we're going to talk about the edit box and the editor in the Orbit Reader 20. So there is an edit box in the Orbit Reader 20, and the edit box is used when you are renaming a file or folder, or when you are using the Find Braille command in the Power search. And by default, when you enter the edit box, there will be text that is selected. And to override this text, you just simply start typing. So you could have the current file name of your file selected, or a current folder name if you're changing your file or folder name, or if you're in the Find Braille section, you might have a previous search string of text. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the commands for the edit box. To move to the previous character in the edit box, you would press left arrow. To move to the next character, you would press right arrow. To move to the start or end of text in the edit box, you would press up or down arrow. So up would move you to the beginning of the text, and down arrow would move you to the end of the text. Now once you reach the end of the text, the cursor can go no further and it will stop. To backspace, press .7, and this will delete the previous character. To accept type text, or to save the text that you've typed, say you've changed the name of a file or something, you would press the .8 key, and that would change the name of the file. Now, the file rename command is space R, so you would focus on the file and push space R, and that would allow you to rename a file, and then you would type the name in the edit box. The folder command to rename a folder is space O, so you would press space O, and then you could type the name of a folder. The command for searching for text would be space F, and that would allow you to enter the Find Braille feature. If you're searching for a specific word or a specific line of text in a file, you can use this feature. Now to close the edit box, you just simply press select, and if you don't press .8 before you press select, your text will not be saved or changed. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about the editor. Orbit Reader serves as a tool for reading Braille, but it also allows you to edit new or existing files on the SD card, so you can create and type your own files, or you can edit files that are on the SD card. While you're in the editing mode, the cursor will blink 7 and 8, and that will show you where the cursor is located, and it will blink off and on, off and on. And you can change the cursor blink settings in the menu, which we talked about in the previous video. So there are 3 ways to edit a file, and with each of these commands they are available in the editor as well as the file manager. The first way is to edit a new file, and you would press space plus E. This puts you in the editor with a blank file open, and you can type your file. Now the first characters that you type in your file will be the file name. So you want to make sure that you, of course, type the first 20 characters will be your file name. So you want to make sure that you type that at the top of the file. And then you would just go ahead and type your file. And when you're done typing, you would press .8 to save your file. Excuse me, so to edit a new file, you would press space plus N, not space plus E, and this allows you to create a new file. You would press space plus E to edit the current file that you are on in the file manager. So again, to create and edit a new file, press space plus N. To edit the current file that you have open in the file manager, you would press space plus E. Now when you have a current file open in the file manager, it's the file that you're reading. So when you press space plus E, you go into the editor and you can type the new text into your file, and the new text will be added at the location of the cursor. To move the cursor to the end of the file, you would press and hold down the down arrow key, and when you reach the end of the file, then you can go ahead and type the text. Another way that you can edit is, say you're reading a book and you are taking notes about the book and you want to go back to the previously edited file. To do this, you would press space dots 1, 2, 4, 6. This will take you to the previously edited file, and you can go ahead and pick up where you left off typing your notes, and then to return to the file that you were reading, you would just simply press select, and that would close the editor out and return you back to your book that you're reading. To insert text, you would type the text at the cursor. You could also paste text, and to type the text you would use, your normal Braille keys, dots 1 through dot 8. You can exit the editor when you're done typing by pressing select E or select again. You will return to your last file that you were reading in. If you're exiting from a new file, the editor will automatically name the file with the first 20 characters of the file, or it will, if there's a file with the same name, it will add a number to the name until it can come up with a unique name for the file. It's always recommended that you exit the editor before you perform a system update. If you don't, you might lose your work. So if you're going to run an update, you always want to make sure that you exit out of the editor. Here are the editor commands. To edit the new file, this would create a new file. You would press space plus N. And again, this places you in a new file where you can type. To edit the current file that you were in, you would press space plus E. And this opens the editor so that you can edit the current file that you're reading. To edit the previous file, press 1, 2, 4, 6. This returns you to the last edited file. To add a new line in your file, you would press .8. This is the enter command. To delete a character, you press .7. To exit the editor, you either press select plus E or press the select button twice quickly. To save the current work, you press select S. Now the Orbit Reader 20 automatically saves your work every kilobyte of data, or about every 1,000 characters. But if you want to save in between, you can do that by pressing select S. And again, if you're running a system update on your Orbit Reader 20, you may have work that gets lost in the editor, so you always want to make sure that you exit out of the editor. To go to the next or previous character, you press left or right arrow. So pressing left arrow would take you to the previous character, and pressing right arrow would take you to the next character. To go to the previous or next word, you would press space plus left arrow or space plus right arrow. So space plus left arrow would take you to the previous word, and space plus right arrow will take you to the next word. To move to the previous or next display, you would press the panning keys. So you would press the pan up key to go to the previous display. That would be the top part of the panning key. To go to the next display, you would press the bottom part of the panning key, which would be to pan down, and that would move you to the next display. To go to the previous or next paragraph, you would press up or down arrow. So by pressing up arrow, you would go to the previous paragraph. By pressing down arrow, you would go to the next paragraph. And when you push the up arrow, you go to the start of the previous paragraph. If you press the down arrow, you go to the end of the next paragraph. To go to the start or the end of the current paragraph, you would press dot 7 plus up or down arrow. So dot 7 will take you to the first part of the paragraph, plus up arrow, and dot 7 plus down arrow will take you to the end of the current paragraph. Whoops, excuse me on that. To go to the beginning of the current paragraph, press space plus dot 7 plus left arrow. To go to the end of the current paragraph, press space dot 7 plus right arrow, and that will take you to the end of the paragraph. To go to the previous page, press space plus dot 7 and then up or down arrow. So pressing space plus dot 7 plus up arrow will take you to the previous page. Pressing space plus dot 7 down arrow will take you to the next page. To go to the top or end of the document, you long press the up or down arrow. So to go to the top of the file that you're editing, you would long press the up arrow until you reach the top of file. And the Braille display will say top of file. To go to the end of the file, you press the down arrow till you reach the end of the file. Long press that, and the Braille display will say end of file. Now, these are editor block text commands, and these commands are for selecting and marking text and copying and pasting text. So when you mark a file, when you add a mark, the text between the mark and the cursor location is selected or marked, and it allows you to cut, copy, and paste that text. Now when you add a location mark, it does not affect the text at all. It just simply adds a mark so that you can select the text, and after you cut, copy, or paste, the mark is removed. The size limit for cut, copy, or paste operation is 5 kilobytes of data, which is about 5,000 characters. To set a location mark, which would select the text from the mark to your current cursor location, you would press select M, and this will add a location mark. Pressing it again would also clear a location mark. Then you would go ahead and move your cursor to the next location where you would like to copy, cut, or paste the text, and that selects the text in between your cursor and the location mark. The editor indicates a mark by raising dots 7 and 8 where the character of the mark occurs. To copy the text, you would press select C, and this will copy the text to the clipboard. And once you do this, the location mark will be cleared. To cut the text, you would press select X, and select X will cut the selected text to the clipboard. Now, when you cut something out of the document, you actually remove that selected text from the document and place it on a clipboard. When you copy text, the original text remains in its location, but you make another copy of it on the clipboard. So when you cut something, you know, it's good to know that you are actually cutting that selected text from the document and placing it on the clipboard. To paste the text, you move to the location in your file where you would like to paste, navigate to that location, and then press Select V. And the text will be pasted into that location. Now we're going to talk about the context menu. The context menu allows you to access the cut, copy, paste, mark, and exit commands, as well as the save command. It gives you a shortcut to do that without knowing the Braille commands. So if you don't know the Braille commands, you can go to the context menu and find what you need. While you're in the editor, you press Select to open the context menu. There are two ways to make a selection from the context menu. The first way is to use your up and down arrow keys to navigate to the option that you would like to select, such as exit, cut, copy, paste, save, or mark. And then when you find the option you would like to select, you would press the select button one time. There is another way to choose the option. If you know the letter of or the Braille shortcut key, you can use it to select the option that you would like to use. So like, for example, the Braille shortcuts are you would press E for exit, you would press M for mark, you would press C for copy, you would press V for paste, you would press X for cut, you would press F for find, you would press S for save. You can also press select twice to quickly exit the editor. So if you press select one time, you open the context menu. If you press select twice, you exit the editor. Now again, to save your work in the editor, you once as you exit the editor, your work will automatically be saved. I hope this video was helpful for you on the Orbit Reader 20 editor, and I thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day.
Stop recording.